Hi everybody, Naomi here. I just want to talk quickly about composition and the rule of thirds. Those are things that you will hear and read about a lot in the art world. It's only one compositional layout, but it is one that's pretty commonly heard of, and so I thought I would just touch on it here because it makes your painting more visually pleasing to the viewer's eye. So I'm going to start with a photo that I took in July. This photo right here is from Split Rock Lighthouse in northern Minnesota, Two Harbors, Minnesota, up by Duluth. We traveled there this July for a family reunion, and I took this photograph. I'm not a professional photographer at all, which you can probably tell, but this photo was just one that I thought I might want to make a painting from. So it's the raw image. This is the photo that just came right off my phone, and I haven't done anything with it yet. One thing that I decided to do was to change the composition of this photo a little bit, because if I were to crop it to make the lighthouse a little bit bigger, one composition that you might consider would be something like this. However, if you notice, basically this cuts the whole picture right in half visually. So the bottom half is very dark and heavy with all this rock and the lighthouse itself. The lighthouse is smack in the center of the picture, and the top half is just nothing but sky. And what that does is it creates a very unbalanced photo, which then is sort of static or stuck. The movement of it and the layout of it just feels bottom heavy and not really visually interesting or pleasing. So instead, what's recommended is to use the rule of thirds. And here's that same photo. I brightened it up a little bit. But what you've got on, this is from Adobe Photoshop. It's also available right on your phone when you're taking photos, this grid here. It's the rule of thirds grid. And the idea is that anything in these intersections would be something that you want the viewer to see or pay attention to. So that's where their eye is going to be drawn. And so I've put the lighthouse right here on this intersection. And basically what I've done to the photo is I've divided it so that the bottom third is the water and the rocks, and then the top 2/3 are made of the cliff, the sky, and the lighthouse being in the very top third. Also, there's kind of this L-shaped composition right here. So we have the horizon line coming across the bottom third, and then going up the left third is the line of sight that includes the lighthouse and the main bulk of the cliff face here. So that's kind of a nice pleasing composition. Let's compare that to a professional photo, which this one is by Todd Trapani. I hope I've said his name right. He's on Unsplash. And here's also a photo of Split Rock Lighthouse that he took. Now, he is a professional photographer, but I've noticed that he also employs the rule of thirds here. So his lighthouse is also on the left third of the page and up about a third of the way down on the paper. The differences that I notice between mine and his, again, I'm not professional, in my photo, which is pretty unedited, other than just brightening and cropping, everything in my photo is pretty equally busy and equally detailed. So my eye doesn't really know where to rest exactly. I mean, there's a lot of detail in the foliage here. There's a lot of detail in these rocks down below. Is that where my eye should look? Should my eye be looking at all the ripples on the water? And the lighthouse is kind of, it's all given equal importance visually, other than just the composition of it. Whereas what Todd has done is with editing, he has softened and blurred the parts of the picture that he does not want our eye to focus on. And that makes our eye drawn to this sharper, more detailed spot right here. This is the focal image. So if I were to take my photo and paint from it, I would want to do something to draw the viewer's eye right here. Maybe I could put a beautiful cloud formation behind it, make it sharper and more detailed, and then as the viewer's eye moves down and away from the focal image, you could make it a little bit less detailed, a little softer, and so that the sharp focus remains up here. It's just an idea. It's something that I've noticed professional photographers doing and artists, painters, to highlight an area and draw your eye there. You want higher contrast, higher detail, so that that's where the viewer's eye goes. And it also gives the viewer some place for their eyes to rest, because this lower area, which is less detailed and softer, is just a beautiful resting place for the eyes. Whereas in mine, everything is a little bit jarring just because it is so detailed everywhere. Just something to think about. I hope that's been helpful to you. And again, here's the photo without the grid lines, and you can kind of see how that is just a bit of a more pleasing layout visually than either the raw image, which is just very long and includes all the foreground rocks, or this one where I cropped it to be so bottom heavy. So as you're planning your paintings, just think about the placement of things. Think about contrast and detail and where you're going to let the viewer's eye rest. Hope you're having a great day, and I will talk to you later. Bye-bye.